Automaker Stellantis has announced a pause on production at some of its Canadian and Mexican assembly plants in response to President Trump's 25% tariffs on foreign cars and car parts. This has resulted in temporary layoffs at the company's plants in Michigan and Indiana, as well as GM laying off around 200 workers at its Factory Zero plant in Detroit. Stellantis is also pausing production at the Warren Truck Assembly plant, where about 1,000 workers will be laid off in the 70s. The American auto industry is facing a perfect storm of rising costs, policy shifts, and sudden mass layoffs, with Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler Stellantis at the center of it all. The parent company behind these legendary brands has just made a move that could shake the entire industry to its core. Plants are shutting down, workers are being let go overnight, and the ripple effects are hitting communities across North America. The consequences of the tariff were not merely a matter of economic policy, rather they were a pecuniary blow to the gut. For Stellantis, which had operations in a number of different countries, the cost of every imported transmission engine and electronic component increased by 25%, which had an effect on the supply chain and required the company to rewrite the entire playbook. Stellantis shut down 2 significant plants in Windsor, Ontario, which were responsible for the production of the Chrysler Pacifica and the Dodge Charger Daytona. Additionally, the company shut down a facility in Toluca, Mexico, which integrated the production of the Jeep Compass and the Dodge Journey. These shutdowns resulted in the loss of 4,500 employment in Canada and 2,500 jobs in Mexico, and the effect of the ripples was felt all the way over the border in the United States. According to the Detroit News, the impact was felt by plants in the United States, particularly those that were dependent on imported engines and electronics. A meeting has taken place in Windsor between the Canadian Labour Congress and local labor leaders in order to discuss the economic disruption that has been caused by the 25% tariffs that Donald Trump has issued on Canadian autos. A shutdown of the Stellantis auto assembly facility in the city has been going on for the past 2 weeks, and the tariffs imposed by the United States have put over 587,000 jobs in the automotive and supply chain industries in Canada at danger. Every brand that falls under the enormous canopy of the firm is experiencing the strain in its own unique way, with some not moving at all and others barely clinging to existence. Jeep's identity is related to movement, rough off-road adventure, and freedom reliability due to the fact that the crisis is unfolding brand by brand. Despite the fact that the Jeep Compass that is being manufactured at the Toluca facility in Mexico by Stellantis is currently in full production, the fabrication of this model has been rendered practically impossible due to tariffs placed on imported components, particularly transmissions and information systems. Because they are dependent on a consistent supply of components from Canada and Mexico, even models that are produced in the United States, such as the Wrangler and the Grand Cherokee, are not safe. Dealerships are having a difficult time acquiring fresh inventory, and some showrooms only have 2 or 3 Jeeps available for purchase. Fans who are devoted to Dodge are airing their frustrations over factors such as delays, shortages of parts, and rising pricing, as well as the erosion of faith in a brand that was founded on providing quick pleasure. As a result of tariffs, production of the Ram 1500, which is manufactured in Sterling Heights, Michigan, has been considerably reduced. The Ram 1500 is dependent on engines that are imported from Mexico and crucial electronics that are imported from Canada. There has been a significant increase in the cost of used trucks, and those who rely on Rams to perform their jobs are being forced to look elsewhere. Chrysler, which was once a symbol of American refinement and ingenuity, has turned into a brand that is struggling to maintain its relevance in the market. As a result of the stoppage at the Windsor facility, manufacturing of the Pacifica minivan, which has been Chrysler's best-selling and most popular vehicle, has been totally suspended. As a result of Trump's trade wars, the automotive industry is currently experiencing a crisis. It is anticipated that these trade wars would considerably slow down economic growth across the globe this year. According to projections made by the International Monetary Fund, the economy of the United States would expand by only 1.8% this year, which is a full percentage point slower than the growth rate of the previous year. The greatest impact of this will be felt by consumers, and it will be a horrible experience for them. The trade battles that Trump has been waging have resulted in a considerable decrease in the average cost of a vehicle. Analysts estimate that the average automobile will cost between $2,000 and $4,000 more by this time next year. A basic Ram 1500 may cost more than $32,000, and finance for a basic Ram 1500 might be as close as $50,000. price. This is true even for base models, such as the Jeep Compass. Over the course of 5 years, this price increase would result in hundreds of dollars more in interest and monthly payments, which some families simply are unable to afford. After that comes the used market, which drives up prices for automobiles that were once thought to be within reasonable ranges. First-time buyers and households with lower incomes are pushed out of the market as a result of this, which widens the gap between those who are able to bear unexpected costs of a few $1,000s and those who are unable to do so. The automobile manufacturers are in a state of frantic panic because they are unable to afford these costs indefinitely, and they are unable to pass them on to customers without risking losing market share. Many are being compelled to make difficult choices, such as reducing the number of models, putting a hold on new projects, or reducing the number of people they hire. The Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and Chrysler are all fighting for their very existence. The inventory at Ram is at an all-time high, and the company has been working hard to reduce it, yet sales were significantly lower than expected in the first quarter. Stellantis, a corporation that is primarily dependent on production that occurs across international borders, has been forced to shut down because of the uncertainty around what would occur after the closure. In addition, Dodge fans are not quiet, particularly when their engines are endangered. The production lines at the BMP Ton, Ontario plant that is responsible for the production of the Charger and Challenger, which are emblems of American muscle, have been halted as a result of tariffs. The future of the automotive industry is currently more unclear than it has ever been, and it is essential for automobile manufacturers to adjust to the shifting conditions of the market. Although the allure of Dodge has always been rooted in its raw power and attitude, many enthusiasts are finding that the Dodge dream is becoming increasingly out of their reach as prices continue to rise beyond their expectations. Built in Sterling Heights, Michigan, the Ram 1500 is more than simply a truck. It is a tool that is useful for ranchers, contractors, and owners of small businesses. The Ram is dependent on engines that are sourced from Mexico and essential electronics that are sourced from Canada. However, production has been considerably reduced as a result of tariffs. There has been a significant increase in the cost of used trucks, and those who rely on Rams to perform their jobs are being forced to look elsewhere. Chrysler, which was once a symbol of American refinement and ingenuity, has turned into a brand that is struggling to maintain its relevance in the market. The manufacturing of the Pacifica minivan, which may not sound very noteworthy at first, was entirely suspended as a result of the Windsor factory shutdown. For many years, the Pacifica minivan has been Chrysler's best-selling and most recognizable car. Increasing production costs and the absence of a definitive roadmap are bringing the Chrysler 300 closer and closer to the brink of doom. Analysts believe that Chrysler might be discreetly phased away over the next few years if there is not a significant pivot or investment involving the company. When it comes to the billions of dollars that are being added to the costs of the sector, the real crisis rests in how this will affect the average customer. Shockwaves are being sent through boardrooms, dealership networks, and working-class households as a result of the hefty bill of $17.7 billion that is expected to be paid by the automotive sector over the next 12 to 18 months. Only one automaker, Stellantis, is scheduled to bear the weight of $41.9 billion, which is about 40% of the total financial load that will be borne by the industry. By this time next year, the average price of a vehicle will have increased by between $2,000 and $4,000. Even for the most basic models, it is possible that a basic Ram 1500 will soon surpass the price of $32,000, and that it will be possible to finance a basic Ram 1500 for $50,000. The increase in price over a period of 5 years will result in hundreds of dollars more in interest and monthly payments, which some families simply are unable to afford. Automobile manufacturers are in a state of frantic panic because they are unable to continue to absorb these expenses and pass them on to customers without risking a loss of market share. A great number of people are being coerced into making difficult choices, such as reducing the number of models, halting the development of new initiatives, or reducing the number of people they hire. There is currently an assault on the entire business paradigm, which was once successful due to the presence of free commerce and predictable pricing.